Hello again. Well, I heard the chosen one. He's in Tennessee. Yeah, and he had to give a little speech to the people in Tennessee. Got his phony accent going, you know, the Western kind of drawl accent that he puts on to try to mix in with the folks, you know, that kind of accent. And then he did talk about what's going on in Paris. He made certain that France knew that we're there for them. They're their oldest, strongest ally. What about Israel? I mean, France is older, but Israel's, I think, a little bit stronger than... But it doesn't matter. I don't want to talk about Israel because that's one of Obama's favorite topics. You know what I mean? Okay. Anyway, so what he said was interesting because he did use the word terror twice. But he never mentioned Islamic terror. He never mentioned Al-Qaeda or ISIL. He just mentioned terror twice, the word. Then they had a couple of talking heads on Fox, and they said that the folks, I guess in the White House or wherever, they're happy that they could at least hear him say that, because he's never even said terror before. You know, he calls it contingencies or whatever else he calls it. He's making progress, isn't he? Yeah? Now, I wonder if he's going to refer to what happened at that delicatessen as workplace violence. You know what I mean? I mean, it's, you know, who knows? The guy could have had a lousy corned beef sandwich and figured, I got to waste all these people. Gonna have a tougher time with the two guys in that print shop, though, huh? What else did I hear? Oh, yeah. They had a talking head on. And if you watch some of my recent videos, I had stated very clearly that the difference between the radicals and the moderates is interpretation of the Quran. But that applies to the Bible as well as any other religion. Two people can read the exact same thing and walk away with totally different views. Absolutely. You know, I had a friend in Chicago. He became a born-again Christian. And his interpretation of the Bible is that if a woman who might have been divorced, the husband might have left her for someone else, in his eyes, that woman is still married to God, and therefore he can't marry her, even if he wanted to. Because in his mind, she's still married to God. He came down to California. I took him to Mariners Church. He came down with a woman whose husband left her. And they were friends, but that's all they were, as friends. She wanted more, but he didn't, because in his mind, she was married to God. Anyway, I took him to the Mariners Church, and I believe it was Pastor Sales. And I said, would you marry these two? And he says, absolutely. He says, my wife was divorced. Yet the bishop in his church in Chicago said that Jerry's got to believe in his own convictions. And when you read this particular passage in the Bible, again, two people could read the exact same thing and interpret it a different way. That's the fundamental problem with Islam. You got maybe between 190, 180 million to 300 million that interpret it the wrong way. But you still got them. And we have to deal with them. Anyway, it was interesting hearing the chosen one with his phony accent that he puts on. I get a kick out of that. Y'all come back, yeah? Huh? Yeah. Real happy folks here in Tennessee. What a jackass. Complete jackass. And he was stroking his Vice President, Hairplug Biden, and Hairplug Biden's wife, Jill. You very seldom see Jill because she's so much better looking than Michael. Michael. You haven't heard much about Michael lately, have you? I wonder what he's up to.